Well, hey, folks, what's going on? Welcome on into the Pegasus Sexual Podcast. And I am very, very happy to have the man, the myth, the legend, Brightest Day. He is a legend in this chat. He has supported this show from its inception. And then, of course, we have the totally awesome and just absolutely talented Nerd Cookies here. She has been doing amazing content lately, and now here recently she's been dropping really awesome BSG lore bids. So her coming on the Pegasus Actual Podcast again, this is now her second appearance. It's pretty awesome timing because it coincides totally with her content and everything is fresh. So yeah, she's living up to her fresh baked name. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I know, folks, the panel looks a little different. Steven obviously is in the middle of moving. Culture has been in the middle of traveling, as we know, and Raquel has some different opportunities, so she took a hiatus from the show. But of course, I'm determined to bring you guys a quality show, and I wound up getting just an amazing panel, and I'm so thankful. And again, Elaine and BD are awesome, and of course, we're probably going to have just a normie join us in a bit too. But we've got a great episode tonight, man. So don't we, Brightest man?
So for starters, you guys can feel free to call me Zach. It's fewer syllables. And secondly, yes, this was actually a fantastic episode to rewatch. We were speaking in the background. It actually feels surprisingly relevant given what's going on in the world right now and what happens in this episode and some of the undertones that go along with it.
It eerily correlates with current events. Yeah, and it's like here lately, this little stretch that we've gone through, because I think before that, just before we took about a month break, we did the episode where they had Gaius in that water tank, and they were kind of torturing him. And man, it's just crazy. Just how stuff is moving along, and it's just on point. And this episode is no different. And Elaine, I saw when Zach goes, call me Zach, I totally wanted to get him with the Zach failed basic flight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what? I would have.
And with your uniform, that's impending.
Yeah.
So Parrot had said, "Where's the copy of the loving tree number?" Steven is in process, I think, of getting stuff together so he can move, and that's a process within itself. Andy's working, so he's got a lot on his plate.
You're stuck with me, Bird of Morningwood.
Oh no!
Yeah, in my estimation, hey, I mean, anytime you get Elaine, it's like trading up, right?
No, absolutely. Nerd Cookies is one of my favorite channels.
She drops good lore, which in this community, there's so much kind of just repetitiveness, and she has an awesome difference when you go to her channel when she has these lore videos and stuff, because it really helps for the people, especially that are revisiting these franchises. Man, her videos are on point, and they really help the new type of fan that's just getting into watching something like this. So
thank you. That's what I try.
Yeah, it's really killer.
And even for the seasoned watcher, there's a lot of details in some of her videos that you wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm. Hail Stone Cold Jeremy.
I try and make it accessible for both, both groups. Introduce to the newest fans and give something that long-term fans have loved.
Well, you do an excellent job.
And shut up, Runner.
Oh, you're looking sharp in that thumbnail or that avatar.
Yeah, what's
picture.
up with this? What's up with this?
I haven't seen that before.
I know. What's going on with that?
Yeah, this episode was awesome, and just this is just the best of science fiction in my view. When obviously it's very relatable to what's going on in the world right now. But that's what science fiction should be. It shouldn't be limited to what one point in time. These are issues that have been around for a long time throughout, history, and so it should feel that way. It should feel like it's relevant to our day, but it should have felt like it did when it came out 20 years ago. Is it 20 years ago?
Yeah,
Pretty close.
it is now. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah. And now the fourth member of our panel, Scott, just a normie. What's up, dude?
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear
Hey,
you.
brightest day, man. I love the banner, bro. Who
Thank
did
you.
that?
Yeah, nice. So, hail Godzillionaire. All right. Yeah, man, you got lots of folks popping in. I love it.
Hey, no blushing there, brightest day.
Yeah,
it's got to be kind of hard, I'm not gonna have too much of a choice.
Hey, BD, your chat compadre is there, Roof Korean.
Roof Korean.
I haven't seen Roof Korean in ages, man. Where's he been?
He's been here.
He was just here when I did Thursday Night Throwdown last Thursday.
Really?
Oh,
man, I haven't seen him in ages.
Zach7, hey, buddy. Great to see you. Mikhail, I'll probably do a High Heresy stream this weekend because I got a lot to talk about, but I'm not dropping any super political stuff right at the moment on here. Because I would actually talk about the episode. I miss talking about BSG. It's about darn time.
Shit, huh?
Yeah, it's about fracking time.
About fracking time.
Yeah, in this episode, basically, we get a lot of Doc Coddle, and it's never bad when you get a lot of Doc Coddle. if we're being honest, because Donnelly Rhodes playing that character was just amazing.
No, I don't think he gets enough credit.
No,
he's a really good character and a very good actor. He didn't get enough screen time on BSG, in my opinion.
Oh God, you guys, didn't he pass away though? I think he passed away recently.
Let me see.
Maybe. Yeah, so check on that.
Yeah, look up Donnelly Rhodes, the guy that played Doc Coddle. I think he did pass away, but yeah, yeah, that's right, Roof Korean. That's what I said in the tweet. It's been like a month, and everybody totally patient about it. And,
shit, you're right.
Yeah, lung cancer.
He died January 8th, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even know.
Which is ironic, considering how heavy a smoker is his character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That sucks, man. But yeah, he really was good because that was one of the most underrated characters I think on the entire show because everybody liked Doc Coddle. He was very matter of fact. He was kind of like, what's the best way to put it, Elaine? What do you think? He was a warm asshole.
Yeah, like the crusty old seasoned. Don't take no crap from nobody, and
and getting down, and all he cared about was his patients.
To put it simply,
exactly.
To put it simply, he was based. He gave zero shits. He was
exactly.
He did, man. He did have zero F's given. That dude would just drop the most matter of fact statement in your face. He didn't care.
I'd say Coddle, Hilo, and Ty were just very standout performances in this episode.
Yeah, Temo Penikin got his time to shine here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Godzillionaire says, I love when Boomer was pregnant. He said, how did you silence not upgrade the plumbing? Yeah. Coddle and Adama had similar personality traits, but Adama had to keep a professional military bearing. Yeah. Well, it was different for him because, he was the commander in chief at that point in time, being the admiral now. All right. BD, do you have the script?
I have the script up. I am ready to go.
Right.
I am all set in actual Pegasus Actual. This is Pegasus CIC. Yeah.
All right. Well, take it away, sir.
Okay. I will do my best to live up to Raquel. For those of you unfamiliar with the format of this show, I will read a pre-written script, which goes over the episode scene by scene, and we will pause briefly to converse amongst ourselves and take questions and comments from the chat. As Drew stated earlier, this is Season 3, Episode 14, entitled A Woman King. And here we go. The episode opens above the bed of Hilo and Sharon, the latter soundly asleep, as the former slips out to wander the room, preoccupied in his own thoughts. Later, she pries into his mental state about the 300 additional refugees he'll soon have to deal with, but he remains defensive. The two run into Lee, Starbuck, and other members of the squadron, and they joke for a moment before separating. In the area of the starboard hangar deck, unfortunately nicknamed Dogsville, Colonel Ty gingerly assists Hilo in stewarding the aforementioned refugees on board. Further back, a civilian physician, one Dr. Robert, attempts to provide medical care to a Sagittarian woman named Portia King and her son, William. This, however, is explained to be against the beliefs of the Sagittarian people, and Duala has to step in to help defuse the situation. Later, Dr. Robert, upon examining the young man, discovers symptoms of illness, but care is refused, and subsequent refugees display similar symptoms. Hilo, Ty, and Dr. Robert then witness the young man collapse, a sign of troubles to come. And here's our first break.
Yeah, you get a lot from that because up to this point, I mean, we knew little, I think, outlying details about the Sagittarians, but it hadn't really gone into specific detail up until this episode, just what was against their religious code and what wasn't. And, it was pretty fascinating to find out that essentially, taking certain meds, certain treatments, they're just taboo.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that quite interesting, and it provides quite a moral conundrum. I don't know. What did you think of the opening, Elaine?
Yeah, it's definitely a chaotic scene. They're displaced refugees. There's a lot of, tensions are high. They definitely set the scene very well. Duala is a Sagittarian, and so that was also revealed there. Her, so that dynamic was interesting too. That she was trying to help them by saying that, I'm one too. I'm a Sagittarian too. He just wants to look at you. But still, it was the whole chaos of it. It's very tense and everyone's on edge. And we're also thrown into this scene where people are starting to cough. There's this, there's underlying.
Don't say it. It's not the coup. It can't be the coup.
But poor Hilo is in charge. He's set in charge of all this, but he definitely shines.
Yeah, it's the what do we call it? The space coup.
It's cool that they're talking about the other cultures and of the 12 colonies. So that's always interesting to see a more in-depth look. Also, post the new Caprica, there's so many things that are going on at this time.
Wow. What a killer observation right here. Sagittarians were an analogy for Muslims displaced due to Mideast unrest after 9/11. Yeah, that's quite interesting.
I also believe, as I was reading, the distrust of modern medicine is attributed to Jehovah's Witness, I believe.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They're big on that too.
Yeah, big time.
Right, so they're definitely an allegory for any franchised religious sect.
There's a lot of religious sects around the world that practice the same thought as well too. So it was kind of nice to actually see that, because you really don't hear about that very often in Western culture and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So. All right, you want to go ahead and pick it up, Zach?
Okay. After the opening credits, in Adama's stateroom, Dr. Robert explains that the illness is known as Malarak sickness, a respiratory disease spread through bodily fluids and physical contact. This is a condition which has... Are we good?
Oh, you're good. I'm just saying it's quite interesting what that disease is. Or it just kind of makes you go, because the whole thing of the whole thing popped in my head. Is this predictive programming, people?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I'll read that last line again. A respiratory disease spread through bodily fluids and physical contact. This is a condition which, as Doc Huddle states, is fatal within 3 to 5 days if symptoms are not treated within the first 48 hours. The disease is curable. However, in an effort to conserve supplies, a triage plan is established for the civilians, treating only those that show initial symptoms. As Adama orders Chief Tyrrell and his crew be immunized immediately to prevent downtime. The conversation shifts then to the Sagittarian population, as many of them will likely refuse the medical treatment, resulting in needless deaths. Back in Dogsville, we are shown an example of the Sagittarians' antiquated ways as they consume a root extract in an attempt to stave off the sickness. And there's our next break.
Yeah, that kind of fits with a lot of culture. There is still a lot of cultures around the world that practice alternative medicine where they tried to use natural herbs and roots and things of that nature. And I don't discount that, by the way, because there are certain things that you can take, folks, natural remedies, where you don't have to spend a ton of money on prescriptions all the time, but you have to do your research, obviously, and be cognizant of what it is, and also know your body. But there is certain things you can take. So it wasn't, it's not far-fetched, believe me, because a lot of people do, but there's a lot of people that go the real old school route and actually pick the roots and stuff like that. I don't know. The thoughts, Elaine, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is another reason why, and just a beautiful example of how science fiction can comment on political, religious, these traditions, social issues, economic issues, but still it's part of the story. And it's not so limited to a certain point in time. So for us watching it today, well, at the time when I first watched it, I didn't see it through the same lens as possibly I see it, but it's still, those issues were the same, present in those. And that's why they, touched on it in this episode. And again, we're seeing it years and years later. We may have a different perspective, we do now, but it's still those same kind of issues, though. It's relevant throughout, the years that we've seen it. So I think that's what science fiction is at its best. I think a lot of people, when there's new projects coming out, are worried about, what's it going to touch on politically? But this is how you do it. This is touching on these pretty... Hold on. You hear my cat scratching on hers. Do you hear that? She's scratching on her scratching post. Sorry. I lost my thought now. Thank you, cat.
Cat scratch fever.
I locked mine out for that very reason.
Well, she was sleeping. I don't want to bug her. Hold on. Okay, y'all continue. Sorry.
I'll jump in on this if you don't mind, Drew.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that just to follow up on Elaine, I think she's very relevant in what she's talking about and stuff, especially during this episode and the real life issues and stuff like that. We used to get a lot of this type of things when you look at Star Trek, for example, and stuff like that. We'd have serialized episodes, just like the Orville is doing writing and stuff like that about issues of our time. This show did the same thing, and in this episode, it did it very much, and that's what's great about television and stuff like that. Today, what we've got today is very questionable content. It's not things that are really addressing a lot of critical or important issues and stuff. But in this episode, there was so much going on, and I think Elaine kind of hit it on the head with regards to where she was going with that. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in previous episodes too, where this is a show that, depending on when you view it in your life and how many years it's been since the last time you've watched it, you yourself have a new perspective on the same issue, regardless of the perspective the show has on the particular topic.
Right.
So you could view it twice in 2 different years and have 2 different perspectives on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jane and Nisa Chaos. Nice name change there, my friend. One of my I pretty much RL friends is in the chat. Great to see you, Mel. No take-backs, as we say to one another. And it's awesome that you're here. She's Battlestar crazy too. She watched she's watched the entire series and then some, probably twice by now. But
so I would say, go ahead.
No,
who's got a train in the background?
That's me, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nothing I can do about that.
He's like, the train.
I know, right? Yeah.
Train's coming through the track.
Rising on the Pegasus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is, there's also the fact that this show catches flack from some people for covering a lot of U.S. politics at the time, but there are just as many problems on this show that the characters have to overcome that are just effects of the human condition. And that's why they're so timeless.
That's
a good point. Yeah, very much. Yeah,
great. Yeah. See, me and Norby both said it, but it's true. I mean, that's a hell of a point, because honestly, it did. It examined the human condition, and I think that was a big attraction to the show, because remember, guys, this was at the time, and especially when we got to season 3, this was the #1 show on TV, period.
2007. Oh, this is in the height of frickin' the Gulf War.
Mm-hmm. This was the #1 show on television, far and away, that people were watching. And I always like to refer to, this was kind of the Game of Thrones phenomenon before the Game of Thrones phenomenon, before the Walking Dead phenomenon. Yeah. This was that.
Also, too, I don't know if you guys know this or anybody in the channel, but my understanding is that a lot of people from that did Deep Space Nine and were behind the creative teams for that.
Oh yeah,
and from Voyager were on this show.
Well, we've touched on that. Yeah, we've touched on that before, Scott, because they had essentially an all-star writing room, because they had Thompson and Weddle. They had a bunch of the really good people, Michael Reimer. They had. God, who else?
I'm also talking about a lot of the people behind the scenes, the people that did all the CGI and special effects
guy,
and all that. Yeah,
Gary Hutzel.
Doug Drexler.
Yeah, Gary Hutzel. Gary Hutzel did the CGI and whatnot, and it was awesome, because the ships, man. I will put the way that the ships looked in this series against
Yeah.
just any other sci-fi series.
Yep.
Because the Pegasus
Yeah.
will easily stand in the top 10, and so would the
And you know what, too?
Galactica.
And you know what also too was a risk of doing things too as well was emphasizing that the ship and the fleet were barely keeping it together and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. There was that always constant of trying to maintain this or that, or supplies or resources or whatever. Or there was, multiple light issues on on the ship, or water issues, or whatever it might be, medication, whatever and stuff like that. And that's what I truly enjoyed. And that's what I don't like about a lot of things. I understand it's about saving money because you don't have money for the budget,
but they don't focus on details.
But yeah, exactly, and stuff. And I think that BSG did it really well in emphasizing it. You didn't necessarily have to see it,
Shane even
but you emphasized
it. They had a paper problem at one point.
Yeah, paper problem.
Yeah. But see, and that's what I think is one of the important things to remember. The show really did do details well, and you didn't get that and one of the other things I miss, like Stargate to a pretty good degree did details really well too.
Oh yeah,
and you just don't get science fiction like that now. I think the only thing that we have now, honestly, that stands with it, probably some of the earlier parts of The Expanse.
Yeah,
and
as it gone on, it's really lost its way in that regard. How well it did it in the early seasons.
It lost its luster for sure. And I would say what Zach said earlier, probably the Orville, and then those are about the two because
I think I said that, not Brightest Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, but you guys are 100% right, because but Seth MacFarlane, again, he pays attention to details, and he makes sure those are present in the show, and that's what is awesome about it. But we totally went off on a tangent. So Zach,
that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Zach, go ahead and.
Zach,
continue.
Go, Zach.
I actually want to throw in two things before I keep going. It's
Okay.
what we were just talking about. I'll let y'all go. One, we talked about how the ships in the show are portrayed very well, and the CG, in my opinion, actually still holds up for the most part. I felt that this show set the bar until The Expanse. The Expanse took the bar for best portrayal of space combat. Show for me.
Yeah.
And the second thing,
there was so many things that The Expanse has done in real, physics and stuff like that, but
the second thing is that how at various points in the episode we have these establishing shots of the fleet and they zoom into Galactica and we get a kind of a feel.
Oh yeah.
Because this is post the last ride of the Pegasus, you see Galactica in this very downtrodden, beaten up condition.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it is equal to the condition of the people in the ship. I feel like they are one and the same in this episode.
Yeah.
That everyone on the ship is just as beaten up as the ship itself is.
Yeah.
Well, because you gotta remember though, in season 3, after the new Caprica ordeal, which were probably just
freaking Agama maneuver. Oh my god, dude!
After that whole ordeal and people integrating back into the ship's population, they had the whole thing where you had all these people that were at one another's throats. You had all the people like, well, if you were staying out of the way, then you were a collaborator with the Cylons, and this, that, and the other. You had people at each other's throats about that, and you literally had a tribunal of people going around like executing people that served under that regime. I mean, it was crazy. So these people have gone through an absolute just nutso ordeal psychologically and physically. And yeah, it's exactly like what you just pointed out. They and the ship are in the same darn condition.
Yeah, what just happened, those events play a huge part of the setting of the turmoil and the story and laid out in this episode. So what's happened before plays a huge part in these events.
Shane Nolan brings up the Adama maneuver sequence. The Adama maneuver was so cool.
Oh my god!
And that Battle of New Caprica sequence was wonderful. Yeah. Well, it was pretty amazing, Shane. And I'll say this: like, if you go back and watch a particular episode, like those. I think it was the third one of that 3-episode arc. If you go back and watch that and you see it, like just the in-atmosphere Viper launch was my favorite part of that. Because you see, like, the heat and everything coming up the sides of the flight pods. And you just see Hot Dog in that cockpit saying, well, this is different. And then you just see the Vipers launch out. I mean, my God. Shane, the shots of this stuff, dude, were just, oh my goodness. The sequences were amazing. And I don't think, it'd be hard pressed to tell me, and I agree with Shane here, it'd be hard pressed to find another like science fiction sequence shot that damn good.
Oh yeah.
Just
that wouldn't cost a lot of freaking money now.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, Zach 7. It does hold up. It does hold up. If you go on Peacock and watch the show from beginning to end now, okay, it holds up, and the effects, the whole 9 yards, because it never got flashy. They never tried to get too futuristic. They found the exact sweet spot, and that, man.
You know what though, Drew? I would say my only drawback or only real criticism about BSG is that we weren't introduced to any aliens like we were in the original.
But honestly,
I know it didn't have its place either.
Yeah, but honestly, though, they went in much more of a streamlined direction, Scott. So it was hard. You would have been hard pressed to introduce like an extraterrestrial element to that.
Right.
So it was more of a linear direction than the other one. See, in the other one,
you're right.
If you look at 78, you had a completely different type of lore, and you had more because remember now you're going according to the Egyptian stuff with that. Okay, so it was 180 degrees different. So, because you have to remember, because if you look on the 78 helmets, on pilot helmets, the Egyptian symbols.
It's got Egyptian symbols. Yeah, I understand that. I just, it
is speculated that who is referred to as God and the messengers who they work for or they serve could be a alien. A higher intelligence, basically, with an interest in humanity. And so some think that could be it. I think it's cool that it's left open to our interpretation.
Yeah.
I appreciate that too as well. I do appreciate that.
I like some mystery, that we can read
exactly,
about.
Yeah.
Well, and again, in putting it out there that way, I think they did, like, especially the 2000 show was pretty respectful. To like, because they didn't try to appeal to the overly religious fan, and they didn't try to under appeal to.
I thought it was ballsy because the show in a lot of ways is very religious.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. And the
very
original
religious.
one too that had those Glenn A. Larson intentionally made it that way. So it's nice that they continued on that. Shane shows.
Yeah, I want to point out, Shane brings up the original series had human civilizations that had stopped on habitable planets along the way to Earth. And yeah, there was, Shane, I remember in the original, them going to, the one, because didn't they go to Cobol as well? Because
they did.
In the original. Okay, So, yeah.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's all your fault.
Pick it right up.
It's my fault.
Pick it right up, Zach.
I'm gonna go through two sections since we detoured so much. I'll let you know when I'm done. Okay. Aboard Colonial One, Zarek and Roslin discuss the upcoming trial and fate of Gaius Baltar. While Roslin considers the matter an open and shut case, Zarek, displaying unprecedented concern, explains the socio-political chaos that he's confident will occur once the verdict is read. He warns her to enact martial law during the trial in order to stem what he calls a hurricane. Back on Galactica, Hilo hears the grievances of the other civilians, who want the Sagittarians isolated. From behind them, Portia King comes forth, telling Hilo that her son has died, and that she believes Dr. Robert was directly responsible for his death. She explains that her son was sick less than 12 hours, and that she allowed Dr. Robert to treat him in defiance of her faith, making his death more than questionable. The next day, Hilo oversees Robert, trying to get his side of the story. Robert deflects and distracts him with an inoculation against the illness and a story about honeyed words of Hilo spoken to the colonel. At Joe's bar, several of the junior officers drink, play arcade games, and gripe about the situation with civilian illness. Chief Tyrrell, by now quite inebriated, explains how none of the Sagittarians came to the aid of the resistance on New Caprica. Duala is initially uncomfortable, but agrees on some level about her people, and expresses her dislikes for Dr. Cottle. In the brig, Sharon and Caprica 6 discuss Baltar's trial. Sharon attempts to get her to expose Gaius. Contrary to this, 6's virtual Baltar tells her to act a little more human and start thinking only about herself. Back in Dogsville, a riot has broken out. Hilo and the Marines attempt to save Dr. Robert as the Sagittarians accuse him of murder. After the situation diffuses, Dr. Roberts admits to treating Sagittarians without their consent, despite the order to ration. As Hilo continues to ask probing questions, Robert angrily deflects. Hilo then reports his findings to Adama, with Cottle and Ty present. None find his story credible enough, and he's dismissed offhand. Ty pursues down the aisleway, defending Dr. Robert and informing Hilo how bad his actions look within Fleet Command. Ty then takes a cheap shot at Sharon, and Hilo decks him for it. Although Ty opts not to press charges, he restates his threat. And there's our break. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there really was, and look, you can't blame the woman whose son died, because all she wants is answers, and it's up to Hilo. It actually gets to Hilo, and he wants to continue investigating. And as we're going to find out, he does continue to investigate, and it's based off directly off the conversation that we'll allude to in a moment that he has with his wife. But yeah, the interesting thing about that is they kind of scoffed at it. They're like, well, okay, let's just put it out there. God, I didn't want to do anything political, but the Dr. Robert character, okay, Fauci? Anyone?
Oh, I would say more Kevorkian, but also Shane Nolan has a nice comment that he just popped in a quarter of. There was a UK doctor.
Remember that guy that, what about that doctor that, was it Dr. Kevorkian, the guy that did
Right, that's what I
assisted
said.
suicides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to call him Dr. Death.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's legal. Go
Mhm.
figure.
Yeah. But it's like yeah. Or we could just call, you wanted to do it. Shane said that guy's name in the UK was Dr. Harold Shipman. Okay.
Yeah, there's certainly not. There's certainly a long history of unethical, doctors.
Right,
Yeah.
This is, unfortunately, but again, this is another thing where it keeps it relevant throughout, on repeated viewing. So and I like how it introduced. It's kind of subtle, but excuse me, good pacing. Hold on a second.
No problem. Yeah,
Sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Yeah, it is. You're spot on about that, Elaine.
Yes.
It's perfect. That was never a problem though with this show. Most oftentimes in episodes, I don't think that the pacing was too off. It was very rare that the pacing was off.
Yeah, I like that there's some lingering mystery that we don't know for sure what the doctor is doing. I like the investigative part of it on the part of Hilo, who thought that the death was caused by, not seeking medical attention within the proper time frame, and that's just what she assumed that he died.
And we're gonna see that whole thing play out here in a second, because I know as soon as we continue, we're getting to the part where we're gonna see that scene in Hilo and Sharon's quarters where they're having an argument about the Sagittarians and about what he should do, and of course his wife said expresses her displeasure and says you need to just worry about run in Dogsville, get the hell out of here, and keep your nose out of the business, and just do what you need to do to get out of that duty. Because she just wants him back home. She doesn't want him stuck down there or anything else, and she just thinks he should, take the high road on it. And she thinks also that the Sagittarians are kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's true, Kit, because there's that ambiguity. You could say, well, who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe, because she had the story about 12 hours is when he was sick, and then the doctor told him something different. So then it's like, well, what are you going to believe at that point? And you have to consider what is influencing your decision when you think about that. So you can see that the crew were considering that they didn't help them during on New Caprica, so that was influencing their view. They viewed them as backwards. They're not accepting modern medicine. All that was coming in their past with their run-ins with these people, and that was influencing how they viewed this woman's situation and what was going on down there. It's nice that it's not so in your face. It lets you. It just makes you think, and you can come to your own conclusion on that.
And that was another thing, a lost art now, the sort of writing from our modern storytelling that speaks to somebody's mind and allows you to form your own opinion, allows you to, decide which way your moral compass swings, and that, God, that is such a lost art. And this was one of the last, in the past, like 10 to 20 years, shows that gave you that sort of respect as a viewer. And I think we can't underscore enough the importance of that, whereas now, when you watch something, and you guys in the chat, this, most modern pieces now are very disrespectful to the viewer, and they appeal more to a juvenile level, or they're just very preachy, and they're just hitting you over the head like, take the woke, take the woke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes you think. This made me think too that what if circumstances were different? What if they had plenty of medicine? What if, what happened on New Caprica didn't happen? What if everything was peachy keen and fine? Would they still be treating these people like this? But it was all of these different factors that was influencing their thinking about how they viewed these different peoples. And
yeah, and if you notice something, Elaine, remember at the very start of the season when the whole saga on New Caprica began, the very first hint that we got that they were in a bad way and there was a medicine shortage, like after they did the year time jump. And I guess we want to say at the end of season 2, whatever, really, because that's when that was. We get that shot of Anders, bam, right off the rip, and there's no antibiotics to treat him, and there's a medicine shortage. And I love how they tied that little seed that they planted back then into now to this episode. And that was one thing that this series did so well with certain details.
You know what too though, Drew, is that whole situation with New Caprica really broke down everybody that was on that planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They went to the planet because they were tired of running for their lives and living on the ship. It's like living in a sardine can, But it broke everybody down,
Damn.
And then when they all got back on,
go
ahead.
I was just gonna say, look at Ruth Korean, you guys. Wow.
In the U.S. in law, this episode covers the issues faced in Jacobson
versus Massachusetts.
You know what? I hate to say it, but this also has a reflection on current day, what we're dealing with right now too with the COOF.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can make that connection, and we were talking about it backstage before you got here, Scott.
Yeah.
It was just, because you have one school of thought on one side, and
I don't think it's one side or the other. I think it's several different groups of thought.
But it's just because a lot of people make a lot of different points, like in the modern sense, and I don't want to get into a whole debate about it because
no, I don't either.
Yeah, but just to before we put it to rest and move on, because I really want to move on from this because I don't want to get myself.
No, just go ahead and move on. I just mentioned it just to. So, I don't want to get into it.
But you have a lot of different things in play, like to consider when you're deciding, if personally your choice is to get vaxxed or not. There's a lot of details in play, and a lot of people push it for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people reject it for a lot of different reasons. So, it's just, it's interesting. I happen to be on the side of I'm not getting it, but that's just me. So,
gotcha.
But go ahead, please, Zach. Continue, get us back on track.
Okay, I've got one more planned break, but we can just go straight through if you want me to.
Go for it, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Hilo resumes his post in Dogsville, locking eyes with Portia King, before being approached by Sharon, who informs him that Hera is ill and that she's under Dr. Robert's care. As he nervously watches the doctor treat his daughter, Hilo's suspicion wears heavily on his face. Robert then hands Hilo the bracelet of William King to return to his mother. As he does so, she confesses to him that she allowed William to be treated because she didn't believe that anyone could have so much hatred inside them as to kill a patient. She then leaves, refusing to discuss anything further. Later, in their quarters, Hilo and Sharon argue, as Hilo airs the possibility that all of his assignments are the result of being punished for his marriage to a Cylon, and the actions resulting therefrom. Hilo then storms off, making his way to a surprisingly empty sickbay. Seizing the opportunity, Hilo searches the medical records of patients from New Caprica and finds a shocking correlation which seems to support his earlier accusation. Eventually, Hilo is confronted by Dr. Cottle, and despite his best efforts, is unable to convince him to aid in his investigation. Back down in Dogville, Duala approaches Robert, asking to be treated, showing the first signs of Malarak infection, as Portia King looks on. Later, King makes her way through the ship to Hilo's quarters, informing him of what she saw, as well as 2 other deaths among Sagittarians. Hilo realizes that if his instincts are right, Duala is in serious trouble. He quickly dresses and heads to the camp, despite his wife's warnings and anger about their earlier argument. Hilo forces his way to Duala's side, checking her vitals and fearing that he's too late, until she finally stirs. She's alive, but heavily sedated. Hilo then attempts to move her to sickbay, as she protests against being treated by Dr. Cottle. The situation escalates, as Marines separate Duala and Hilo, holding the latter at gunpoint. Ty and Cottle then appear moments later. Cottle admits to lying earlier about William King's autopsy. The truth is revealed, and Dr. Robert is forced to admit to killing Sagittarians, although he claims his actions to be an act of mercy, done to save medication for others. Ty admits he was wrong, and orders Hilo to arrest the doctor, which he does happily. In the closing scene,
I love that line, by the way, Zach. Captain Agathon, arrest this son of a bitch.
yes, that's the last paragraph. Yeah.
Did I deliver that pretty well?
In the
I
closing
love
scene,
that too.
Fantastic.
Ty was so great at that last part.
You know what, though? I can really tell why there was so much animosity and hate towards them, though. You know?
The Sagittarians?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You know,
I mean,
it's...
Well, Sharon made the point, though, you know, because she said to the average person, they were very annoying people.
Mhm.
As she said, you know, because when they were arguing, just as Zach was reading that off, you know, when they were arguing in the quarters, she's like, you know them, Hilo, they're annoying. Why are you wasting your time on these people?
Mhm.
You know, she was telling you, you know, they're not gonna take care of themselves. They're not gonna take meds.
Yeah.
So what are you wasting even the time on them for? Get done with what you need to. Get the hell out of there is essentially what she was telling them.
It's almost like, too, is like, well, why don't you just leave them on fucking New Caprica? You know? It's like, fuck it. You know?
And that was like the prevailing attitude. But it said a lot about Hilo too.
Yeah.
You know, and that and I applauded Hilo in this episode for, you know, showing his humanity.
Well, that's really what that's all about, though. You know?
And Elaine brings up a point like from earlier that she was so brilliant on, you know, it did still kind of leave it up in the air, because the doctor got arrested, but really he was right. He only sedated her. Think about that. So was it an overreaction to arrest him for sedating her?
Right.
Because he didn't hurt her.
No, he didn't kill her.
Well, not her. Duala, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not why he was
because
arrested.
he viewed her as worth saving, basically.
Yeah.
And
because she was useful. She was open-minded.
Yeah.
She worked within the confines of the military structure, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was arrested for murdering people, falsifying medical records.
Yeah,
right, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I think, and we were discussing, you know, why wouldn't you just leave him? And I think it's because all of these already gray moral arguments become so much more gray when you encounter the fact that there are almost fewer than 40,000 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, like
tens of thousands of people. And if you're going to let however many other people die, that requires you to have completely given up on this mission that you have spent years trying to succeed at.
Right.
Like, I think that if they had done that, they probably that would have been a cascading effect, among other things that are cascading effects that would have just led to the entire downfall of the fleet.
So it seems that all the turmoil that they've been facing, they're just like dialed up to like 11. They're just on edge, and whatever prejudices that they had before, like they viewed them as I don't know, just not backwards, is that what they said, but it's just not keeping with the progression of society, basically, with modern medicine and other ways. But so that was already there, and then all of these things happened, and their differences just turned into animosity, and they didn't view them as people anymore. They were just, I don't know, people that were wasting or just things that were wasting medicine. They don't need it. They don't deserve it.
Yeah, they were a resource drain. They weren't people at that point. You know, and you have to you can't look at stuff that way.
And even Sharon, was feeling some prejudice there too. So that's interesting. That even the Cylon wasn't immune to the influence
she
of prejudice.
totally dropped some serious double standards in that convo that she was having with Hilo. And I was like, are you serious? Oh.
And there's an interesting parallel to, if you recall, the scene where Sharon is in the cell with Six, and then you have this, she's trying to get her to do the thing that's good for the fleet and for humans, and her Baltar is trying to tell her, no, think only of yourself. That's echoed in many other characters having to make similar decisions, where you either do what's good for everyone or you do what's good for yourself.
Also, too, correct me if I'm not wrong here, but going back when there was that situation with regards to the skin jobs and not being able to download, and Hilo took it upon himself to dirty the air in their cell and kill them so they could download.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And stuff like that. I see his humanity in saving them as a species, just as him helping the Sagittarians in the same way, or in the same light. But I think that's just his human nature side, though, too. You know,
even in episodes leading up to this.
What's that?
That even in episodes leading up to this, where he and Sharon have to decide whether or not to send her back to the Cylons to go get Hera back.
Yeah.
At the risk of anything she might be able to tell the Cylons about the fleet.
Right.
That's a huge everyone versus yourself decision.
Yeah. I think his arc and the entire show in general has always been about that human struggle and what's put on his shoulders. And I think this episode really makes him shine in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
As some of the past ones did not. So yeah, I like him overall as an actor and a character too.
Oh, Tom O'Penny.
Oh yeah, he's such a good actor.
Well, yeah,
I feel like we could talk for an hour just about the little decisions he has to make and the little quandaries he has. Just his character in this one episode. Whole hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can go on forever about it, but I just want to go around now, and we'll kind of give our number review on it, and then we'll go around the horn and let everybody plug their channels, and we'll skedaddle on out of here. But for me, I think I would give it an 8. I think it was a pretty good episode. You look at it as a one-off, okay? If you're looking at the series in general as a fan, you think, okay, this was a one-off episode, but it was a damn good one-off episode. But yeah, I think this was a good one-off episode. It was really deep, and as you guys all stated, very, very current event relevant. So
it's even very relevant today.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And that's the point that Elaine made earlier. it perfectly reflects a lot of stuff from today. But yeah, I give it an 8. So, all right, with that, I will let you give your score and your thoughts there, Zach.
So I have 2 scores for this. When you consider it within the context of the entire series, like we were just doing, it's an 8 because it doesn't add much to the whole of the plot. But in and of itself, as a singular episode, I'm honestly going to give it a 10. I don't think there's much about this episode that I didn't like or could find major error with. The stakes are set immediately, and they are grave. Like we were talking, the number of little moral quandaries that have to happen for the characters involved is, again, we could talk about it for an hour. There's a resolution that, while not entirely satisfying to most people, is appropriate for the situation and leaves you thinking, which is it's worth a point on its own. So honestly, a 10 or an 8 in the course of the series.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Elaine, what did you think? And before you make your point, Fury Kid, no worries. I know you got here late, but that's okay. You can catch it on the playback, my friend. No, don't worry. And by the way, thank you for the sub, KF204 Box. Appreciate it. All right. So go ahead, Elaine. Give your score and your quick impression.
Yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. I was like, it just represents the best of science fiction, in my opinion, because it makes you think, and it presents these pretty heavy issues, that science fiction often does, that are cerebral: politics, religion, and social and economic and issues. And it does it in a way to where you're left thinking about, the human condition itself and the lessons that you take away from it. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be told what to think about something. It completely did the story to where you're shown something and you kind of come to that conclusion of yourself. And whenever you watch, this is like so applicable to, I mean, you could watch it over and over again throughout the years that when this came out in the early 2000s, and it's just as relevant when we're watching it today. And yeah, so that's what science fiction should do. It shouldn't exist in just one particular moment in time. It's just because these are human condition issues. This is what we face.
Yeah,
so I like how they did that.
Exactly.
It's just a wonderful way to present it. Great, enthralling story. You're like, I was on the edge of my seat most of the time. I love the mystery. Hilo is just one of my favorite characters. So to have this Hilo-centric episode and where he just shined was amazing. And again, the performances from Ty and Doc Cottle, like when they were butting heads, and then when everything comes to a head at the end, it's just made it that much more satisfying. And so that's great for the viewer. So it was very satisfying to watch, and yeah, loved it.
Awesome. And thank you very, very much. Thanks for subscribing, by the way, Android Scanner. Much appreciated.
Nice.
And of course, Scott, we'll get your score and your quick thoughts.
I would just say that I gave it a 9.5, and only because I kind of feel that it was a great episode. It was a standalone. At the same time, I didn't feel like it was a standalone.
Okay.
Like that, I think it overall kind of tells the after effects of what happened from Caprica or New Caprica and all that stuff, and the turmoil and situation of just having to deal with, everybody acclimating back into what they didn't want to happen, and the rush to get back into orbit and in the fashion that they did and everything else.
All right.
But overall, there's so much going on in this episode, and the fact that the Hilo character grows even more on me in this episode than he did already in the past and stuff. Just in general. I mean, I can't say it enough. The cast of this show it was just
Perfect
just
storm.
perfect. You couldn't have done any better. Period. I was even very hesitant with regards to the change with Starbuck, but I absolutely love and adore Katie Sackhoff herself,
Well,
and so that's what really won me over.
Yeah, well, we can touch on. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I didn't mean to try and deviate. I just wanted to say that overall and stuff like that. But I look back on it and doing this with you guys and stuff like that. It really reminds me of how good we actually had some really good shows of the past versus what we have now. Even though we have The Expanse, I'm sorry, but some of The Expanse is not written as well as this stuff is.
No.
It doesn't even address a lot of the issues. But if you look at Orville, on the other hand, the Orville does that.
Yeah. With the Expanse, so you're dealing with a series of novels. It's trying to adapt novels.
Right. Yeah, I know.
And there's some willy-nilly writing when they're doing that. But the thing is, though, they shouldn't be allowed to slide because, as you said, the Orville pulls it off, and so I mean, it's just.
And this is Keep going. I'm sorry.
We have one paragraph left.
Yeah,
it's the second time that's happened to me this week. It's okay. No, finish. I'll close out the episode with it because it's great.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to touch on what Normie had said, and that's the fact that these casting spokes were the perfect storm, and even back then there were very strong debates because if anybody back then used to belong to the old sci-fi.com forums, there were very heated debates on there when the series was announced back in 2001. There were very heated debates about the gender swap even back then and things of that nature. And there's a lot more pushback than what you than what you see now, but the pushback was crazy then, because fans that were very, very hardcore fans, especially of 78, could not conceive of that. But then, if you sat back and you watched the mini with an open mind and you saw the mini series, you were like immediately hooked. I mean, it was just like amazing. So that was what I think the mini was what pulled me in to BSG, and I wore my BSG shirt today. WTF? What the frack?
That's awesome.
I wish I could wear something like that to work.
But yeah, I mean, it was. BSG continues to be, even to this day, a classic, an amazing experience. It's great for the viewer, and as Elaine so eloquently put it, it's a really good exploration of the human condition, and that is something sorely lacking with things of today. And now we'll go around and we'll let everybody plug their channels. And we will start with Just a Normie Scott.
Hey everybody, I am Scott, Just a Normie. My channel is Just a Normie. I am on Twitter as Just a Normie 5. You can find my channel on YouTube with the logo that you see there. There are other people out there with Just a Normie but do not have the following that they do or the videos. I cover pop culture. I cover a variety of different things that I like, things I don't like. I give my criticism and stuff. I am also doing a series right now. I'm doing fun facts on a lot of different things. Recently, I did fun facts on Dick Tracy, the comic book and stuff from the 1920s and 30s. and I am about to order my first ever comic book, Judge Dredd issue number 1, and I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna review it and give my opinion of it because I like Judge Dredd. I like gory shit like that and stuff, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. But I'm also trying to I have a book that I have been writing. I have about 250 pages. I'm gonna get it published at some point. I need to get back to writing, but a lot of people have requested me to read a few of those pages, and I'm thinking about doing that. And my content has been a little slow because I've had to go back to work in the office, so I'm no longer working at home anymore. So please forgive me. Visit my channel. I keep losing people, gaining people, losing people. But hey, it is what it is.
All right. And also, if one of the mods could please drop just a Normie's link in the chat so people can subscribe. Make sure that you check out his content and what he's got going on his channel. And Normie's good people. He also
stop.
He also makes ridiculously good like banner art. So, I know he does take commissions. If anybody wants to look into that, hit him
I don't
up.
take any money, bro. I don't take any.
All right.
I appreciate the plug on it, but I'm
Yeah.
okay without it. So
Okay, well, I'm just trying to make you some money, bro. All right.
It's all right. If you want to give money to me, give it to Drew. Okay? Give it to Drew. He could use it more than me.
Shout out to Mama Heretic.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
exactly.
So let's get the gal that has been classing up the joint all night, and that is Nerd Cookies, aka Elaine, the awesome. She is now pretty much a celebrity around these parts. As she broke, God, you're way past 5K now, aren't you?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, almost 38.
Wow,
the main channel.
That's way past 5. Yeah,
that's way past 5.
And I remember when you were at 5.
Well, thank you so much. And it's always an honor to come down here and talk BSG with you guys. I'm a little people.
Just,
1,000 followers
on YouTube. I could be a little fish again tomorrow. Who knows? It's all fluid.
And that's a good thing about Nerd Cookies, because she's always been a good friend, and she's always been a great supporter. She's always helped support this channel. She always shouted this channel out. She's helped me grow, and she's been on. This is now her second appearance on Pegasus Actual. Looking forward to actually having her on some more, because I would like you guys to go check out some of her content. She's recently been putting out Battlestar Galactica lore videos, and if you could talk about briefly, Elaine,
oh my God,
the lore videos that you put out, like didn't you just the most recent one is the Base Star, correct?
Nope.
The most recent one was
Scar.
Who is Scar?
Okay.
I think Base Star before that. Yeah, so that's been really exciting. It has had great response on the channel, so I was so happy to continue, making more of that content.
Great stuff here.
Yeah, I cover sci-fi and fantasy news and lore on my channel. Love doing lore videos. I covered Dune as well, and Lord of the Rings, and of course now BSG, but kind of like a wide range of other sci-fi and fantasy properties. So yeah, I kind of have the focus. There's a lot of stuff in the works in regards to a lot of these fandoms and IPs that we love so much. So that's kind of my focus too, is to put out lore videos that reacquaint people or draw in new fans in anticipation of new projects that are in development, because we want these things to be respected, but having a knowledge of the lore, is what I want to put out, and then people can decide for themselves like what was going on.
I can't wait for New Galactica and a non-binary Starbuck. But
well, we'll see. I also have a new channel.
I have no
I just
desire.
started.
Do you hear my enthusiasm?
I know. But I'm having a great time, seriously, at doing the BSG. It's like that's great, anyways. But and hopefully we'll be getting into other things as well. So keep a lookout.
What's your new channel, by the way?
Yeah, I just started Pop Cookies, where I cover pop culture.
Pot or pop?
Oh wait!
Okay, gotcha.
I thought you were making some hot cookies, and
like,
I'm like,
ooh, what are we doing?
girl, can you mail me a batch of those, please?
That's no, that's different. Pop Cookies, where I cover pop culture news and reviews. Anyway, so yeah, some more like Cobra Kai. I did a couple other like pop culture videos on that, but. Yeah, so go check out more pop culture commentary on that channel. Also have Nerd Cookie Arcade, where you can where I game and stream.
God, I wish I could have time to game.
So yeah, they're kind of my main focus is this channel, but Nerd Cookies. But those are other ones I enjoy as well, trying to get off the ground. So yeah, thank you so much.
That's cool.
Yeah, check out all of Elaine's stuff, folks. She really is one of the most like underrated and best channels in the entire community. A lot of people follow the the major super well-known ones, but I'll tell you what, Elaine has her stuff together, and she will always drop some good knowledge on you. So thank you so much again, Elaine.
So
I hope I can have you back next week. So we'll move over to Zach. So go ahead and plug your channel, sir, and then we will get on out of here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brightest Day, or Zach, if you know me. I just want to start off by saying thank you to Drew and thank you to Elaine. I was very, very happy to be on the stream with you guys. I hope you will have me back as well. You guys are two of the channels that actually got me started using my YouTube channel, YouTube, Culture Casino, a couple others. This show is one of my favorite shows on YouTube, and I'm glad it's still going. That being said, my channel, Brightest Day, it's a small channel, it's up and coming. I do a lot of hobby-based stuff. My current schedule is on Sundays, I host an open forum stream where my stream is open to you to come promote your content and have general chat. The last couple of weeks have gone very well. It's been a lot of fun. Monday, I am on Ironcaster's channel, where we do the Mobile Suit Gundam Roundtable, where we do a similar format to this, where we go through one episode at a time of the original 1979 Mobile Suit Gundam. And the format is much like this. We read a scene, read an episode scene by scene, discuss, and it's a lot of fun. Tuesday, I do Gunpla build streams, usually later on in the evening. I'll do that until I run out of bottle kits or I do something else. Thursday, I have a video gaming stream, usually about a little earlier than this starts, but if I'm going to be on this, I will be doing this instead. And then the rest of the week is just whatever I want. So.
Awesome, man. Thank you again so much, Zach. I'll come back to you here in a sec, because we're going to close out with that. We're going to close out with some content. You get behind the scenes bonus, folks. We can get an extra paragraph of our segment we didn't get to. But yeah, I just want to say thank you again, everybody in the chat. You are indeed the best chat on YouTube. Without you, there is no us. And I am so over the moon happy we got to finally bring Pegasus Actual back. It's been like a month. We've gone through, changes. We've had people that have been super busy. And for these really generous folks to come out, and we put together a super panel on the fly. I mean, and that's a feat in itself. And again, thank you so much to Zach, to Elaine, to Scott. You know, it's very much appreciated. And moving forward, I think that you guys are going to see much more of them on this particular show. Make sure you tune in next week. We're going to go with season 3, episode 15. That is called A Day in the Life. That deals with Adama, and if you remember, just to give you guys a little tease of what it is, it's him on his anniversary and remembering his ex and everything else, and it's very interesting look at a different side of Admiral Adama. So we're going to have that episode next week. But with that, I just want to bid you good night, and we will go back over to Brightest Day for a little bonus content.
Okay, so this is actually quite nice. In the end scene of the episode, Hilo, in Admiral Adama's quarters, accepts an apology, where, in a rare moment of humility, Adama admits he was wrong, and tells Hilo that despite earlier conversations, he still has his respect, and his apology is returned with a perfect salute. Finally feeling vindicated and respected, Hilo returns to the loving embrace of his family. And with that, we close. So say we all.
So say we all. That's right.
So say we all. Sorry, it was
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for the subs.